I'm sitting with an elephant to my back and an elephant in front of me out in the courtyard. There's a painting of an elephant. So I know that the elephant means moving through obstacles. And I think this conversation is about helping us to move through obstacles. Elephant energy helps to move obstacles. And so here we are in this conversation about the Divine Mother. When I first came to Chicago, I came with my husband. We stayed in a bed and breakfast. We stayed in Oak Park, and the woman who ran the bed and breakfast, her name was Gloria, and she was a devotee of the Blessed Mother, a really passionate Christian Catholic woman. She had, icon statues all over her house. And when I came down for breakfast one morning in the kitchen, there was this Blessed Mother statue, unlike any that I'd ever seen before. It was a Blessed Mother kneeling, and she seemed to be like staring at, the woman's name was Gloria, at Gloria's soap dish. And I was like, what the heck is this? And I said to Gloria, what's up with this Blessed Mother kneeling down like that? I've always seen her like up or praying. I've never seen her in this position. She said, I don't know. I found her at a garage sale. And I stood there staring at this Blessed Mother for a good while because I was so intrigued. And finally, it came to me. And I said, Gloria, do you know what this is? And she said, what? And I said, it's a Blessed Mother from a nativity set. And she's looking for her baby. She's not looking at your soap dish. And we laughed so hard. We found out the mystery of the Blessed Mother of the soap dish. But really, I feel like sometimes when I think about that we should be crying and not laughing, because that's how I feel a lot of the times. I feel like I'm searching for my spiritual mother, and I have this dull longing that tells me in some way that she's searching for me. And in the realm of spirituality, I feel like we are somehow all these adopted children who have ended up in the home of a widowed father God, and who no one wants to really speak about the mother. It's a slight and subtle feeling that we shouldn't bring it up. I mean, if you're longing for a direct experience of your Divine Mother, if you have that thing that you've banished from your heart and from your vernacular, if you want a healing around that mother or your own mothering, type yes in the chat. When I went to Medjugorje, on the day that I went, I was told, well, everyone that was there on the mountaintop was told, you will receive a special blessing for being here today. And I want to, and I don't believe that this is not possible, so I'm just saying it. I would like to extend that special blessing to you. I had been very blessed by being on that mountaintop with the Blessed Mother. With the children who saw her in Medjugorje. And I believe that blessings can be extended, in any portion of a blessing that I received. I want to extend that to you today. In A Course in Miracles, there's actually only one mention of the word mother. There's a lot of mention of father. But I feel like she is thread through the document of A Course in Miracles. Personally, I was initiated into my ministry as a teacher of A Course in Miracles through the invitations and inspirations that I gleaned when I went to Medjugorje in 1990. I went to Medjugorje because I was longing for my mother. And in my devotion to finding her, I found everything. So today in A Course in Miracles, the lesson says on paragraph 8, today the light of heaven bends to you and shines upon your eyelids as you rest beyond the world of darkness. Here is light your eyes cannot behold, and yet your mind can see it plainly and can understand. A day of grace is given you today, and we give thanks. This day we realize that what you feared you lost was never lost. So we are all given this divinity, this grace. Blessed Mother is known as the Mary full of grace. We see her leaning towards us, like this paragraph tells us. Today the light of heaven bends to you. She's bending towards us as we lay in her embrace. This is the Divine Mother. We've never lost this connection with Divine Mother. She's seeking for us as we search for her. But as long as we search, we imagine that we're separate. And we go about with shields and defenses and special criteria for our engagement with the world. We have not fully and truly returned to her. And so we wander and wait, and we project this world of broken, abandoned, and abused children. There's no way we cannot look at that. You know, the world is a reflection of our thoughts. And we all know the stories of broken, abused, and abandoned children. Some of us have been that, but all of us have seen it, even if we want to ignore it. So, where does this come from? It doesn't come from the world, it comes from our minds. And it's time that we heal our minds. Nobody wants to see this type of world, and yet we live in it. In my own pilgrimage to the Blessed Mother in Yugoslavia, the message was that the Blessed Mother was weeping. That was the message they gave us that day, that she was weeping because we were being disposable with our children. This was 1990. I didn't even have children at the time. And I thought, well, this message is not for me. I have no children. I've come on the wrong day. But surely the message is for all of us, and it always has been. And the deeper meaning of the message is, where have you abandoned your innocence? And where have you harbored guilty haunts that prevent you from showing up? We carry this wounded vindication against a mother. You didn't show up for me. I'm not showing up for you. I'll wait till I'm specially asked before I show up. And if I'm not asked, I'm not offering. So, where have we forgotten to forgive the mother? And where have we forgotten that she is leaning in on us, bending to us, resting her longing and loving eyes on us, waiting patiently for us to awaken to her love? We've not been taught this gospel of the Divine Mother. We have no appropriate and universally honored faces of the Divine Mother. And so we search, and we do search. But the thing is, the truth is, and the good news is that when we search, like we have all come today to search, we find, if we're willing. And we find, the Blessed Mother. And we go on pilgrimages if we need to, like I did back in the day, like that little bird from that book, Are You My Mother? We go searching for her, under every rock and riddle, we say, Are you my mother? Are you my mother? In the theologies and philosophies offered by the world, we've been given saints and sinners and sages and Santa Claus, but what we have not been given and what we have not demanded yet is the gospel of the mother. I want that. I demand that. I honor that. And maybe I'm not alone. So if I'm not alone, I would love to hear that from you. If this is true for you in any way or shape or form, if you have an ache in your soul, as I have an ache in my soul sometimes, I'd like to know. If you find yourself leaning in when people mention the Blessed Mother or Mary Magdalene or Joan of Arc or, Malala or Harriet Tubman or Rosa Parks or any fierce female that was not willing to be ignored and sequestered to the corner of some dusty church. I want to know if that's true for you. I would love for that to be a part of our conversation. But before we go there, I do want to offer some spiritual food before we open up that barrel of barbed wires. So I give you these 3 characteristics of the Divine Mother that Beth and I shared actually in our first venture into voice, visibility, and value, 3V it was called. And it was from Alma, who is also the Divine Mother and face of the Divine Mother, the hugging saint. 3 aspects of Divine Mother that she gave us and invited all of us to nurture was compassion, selflessness, and patience. Compassion is how we demonstrate unconditional love, especially when we are faced with gossip or envy or shame or blame. Compassion gives us the resource to rise above all of the murky waters like the lotus blooms into our own impeccable nature. Compassion is where we come with passion, uninvited and uninitiated and still yet unwilling to be silenced. We come not to necessarily get our good, but we come to extend this good. We bring compassion. The compassion is that thing that we didn't always even know that we had. We find it almost pulled from us. We find ourselves having great compassion for situations that baffle us. And then in that compassion, we say, how can I help? How can I serve? Not instead of sometimes the thing that we hear from our ego self, what have you done for me lately? It's the opposite of that script. So this passion is this fire that comes to us and through us And it's the thing that helps us and makes us cross bodies of water and bang on doors and demand a visitation from the divine. Can we demonstrate this passion in our relationship with love and truth? And the next one is selflessness. This is where we let go of our plan and we become available to God's plan. And we find in this selflessness that it actually demonstrates to us our true purpose and our more impeccable prosperity that shows up in such a lavish way that allows us to do everything that the plan of God invites us to do. And we find, like, oh my gosh, in my selflessness, I am so provided for. Selflessness is where we say, I want to see more God and less Maureen. Fill in your name. Let going of the little me and, melting into the enormous we. So that is what selflessness looks like. Patience is where we trust that the present moment is perfect and that the future is carefully planned by one whose hands knows our greatest good. When we allow ourselves to rest like that Christ child under the gaze of the Divine Mother, the art of patience is mastered by one who knows that something good is always on the horizon because there's nothing but good and greater good. And so we can take our eyes off of the horizon and we can just be with the good that is at hand. That's true patience. So in this community, we have what seems to be 1,000 mothers leaning in to mother each other. That's magnificent. I just want to honor that and celebrate that. For me, the concept of mother, for me, and this is just for me, it might be true for you, but here in Speakeasy, we honor all voices. So for me, the concept of mother is, for me, the most fertile point in my own consciousness. It's the vortex through which all life springs. It's the threshold of the divine. It's that great divine mother. This may not be something that you believe in, that's fine. In my effort to create and mother this community, sometimes I feel like I leave my passions at the door, but only recently have I emerged from the chrysalis myself and declared and affirmed that I have and always will be a devotee of the Divine Mother. To me, mothering and the mother is a crucial role. It's hands down and bar none what is necessary for the health and evolution of our humanity. And I know that that is not something I hold alone. I know that there's an echo to this desire. I know that this echoes in many, many hearts and many, many souls. So we have, each of us, great examples of mothering, and I hope that you share those in our conversation as well. And as we know that the mother is not always only for those who have given birth, but that, or not only for those who live in the female body, but that we are all men, women, big, small, fertile or, barren. We are all mothers, and we have this mothering nature inside of us that wants to nurture and protect and mentor and teach and encourage to become an advocate for someone else's good, to hold that fierce and generous love. Because the mother's love is freaking ruthless. It's incredible. To tap into that resource is so very, very wise. The thing about the mother, and I wanted to just share for those who are actually mothers that you might relate to some of this, is that when we are mothers, we love those things that get created through us so much that we find ourselves like advocating and, asking for things for our creations or our children that we would never ask for ourselves, and we find ourselves, I don't know if this is just me alone, I don't think it is, but we find ourselves fantasizing of murdering anyone who gets in the way of harming our children. Please don't tell me I'm alone on that one. Like, I've literally thought about killing people. I mean, this is terrible. But the mother is the sure bet. She's the safety zone. She's the steady Eddie. She's the springboard. She's the shoulder to cry on when things go south. She's the over-enthusiastic standing ovation in an audience of one. That's your mom. And if you're a mom, you find yourself getting out of bed in the middle of the night, bringing people water and singing people songs, threatening people, little people within a hair of their lives. This is what we become when we become the mother. We get behind the wheel of the car in the wee morning hours of morning in our pajamas with sleep in our eyes, and we drive people to places, people sometimes that we don't even know. You become somebody's Uber driver, you become a personal chef, you become a tutor, a life coach. And the thing is that you are not even closely qualified for these roles, and you feel at all times completely inadequate for the positions. But you rationalize it by saying, well, it doesn't really matter because I'm not getting paid. Of course, this is all a little bit in humor, but most of the times you feel completely confused, even if you've read all of the books on mothering, totally overwhelmed, a dollar short, a day late, riddled and guilted and haunted by extremely exaggerated, morbid imaginations. And you will do things that you promised yourself that you will never do when you become a mother. You cry at Hallmark commercials, you have meltdowns in the middle of, shopping aisles, and you say and do things that you don't even recognize about yourself. And you develop a great tolerance for holding sticky hands and wiping asses and noses and kissing bruises and bolstering busted egos. And you become dazzled, like genuinely, absolutely dazzled by first words and finger paints and knock knock jokes. And you somehow find the patience of a saint to sit through 30 minutes of descriptions of the latest video game. And you think, I'll never get that 30 minutes back. And I still don't know what the hell this kid is talking about, but you nod kindly and generously and try and pay attention. I hope this isn't just me. On our good days, we recognize the value that this rare opportunity of seeing the world once again through these innocent eyes brings to us. And although it's a great deal of effort and energy that's spent, we somehow would pay it twice and every day and always. That's what moms do. And there is, of course, the shadow side to the mother. Not to over romanticize this thing, there is the shadow side of caring for something more vulnerable than yourself. It's not always a romantic endeavor. The relationship can be a landmine for misunderstandings and trespassings because it's very hard to see where I end and you begin. It's very hard to withhold the maps that I have earned through hard knocks and let you fall on your face and find your own way. And to add fuel to the fire as mothers, we sometimes are terrible at self care. I hope that last week's talk helped us to step into it or at least notice where the blind spots are. And maybe we can begin to continue to allow ourselves to rest in the care of God. So today, we've talked a lot and we have a lot to talk about in regards to the mother, and I welcome all of it. Before we go into the announcements and the conversation, I would love to invite us into a short meditation where we allow ourselves to just rest in the Divine Mother. And I'm going to sing a chant like a lullaby and maybe hold it for 2 minutes for just silence, for you to rest in it, to imagine yourself as the Christ child in the arms of the Divine Mother once again, as she leans into you and curves her body to cradle you. In her embrace is a space that gives room to a newly emerging reality that nurtures and attracts the energy of fullness and lavish abundance. And it displaces conditions of longing and conditions of loneliness and conditions of emptiness and purposelessness. There instead is an activation of abundant joy and beauty that stems from the awareness that living in this world is not a burden, but a blessing. So I invite you to experience the peace and euphoria that comes from dipping into the experience of knowing that her embrace holds you, and that in her embrace, you not only have everything, but like the Christ, you are everything. And so if you get yourself comfortable, if you're not already, and take a breath and close your eyes and just surrender into this idea. And I'll sing this twice and then we'll just be still. Oh, Mother, all-knowing. Oh, Mother, love ever flowing. Oh, Mother, we are your daughters. Help us surrender into your waters. Oh, Mother, all-knowing. Oh, Mother, love ever flowing. Oh, Mother, we are your sons. Help us surrender, thy will be done. Oh, Mother, all-knowing. Oh, Mother, love ever flowing. Oh, Mother, we are your daughters. Help us surrender into your waters. Oh, Mother, all-knowing. Oh, Mother, love ever flowing. Oh, Mother, we are your sons. Help us surrender, thy will be done. Help us surrender, thy will be done. We'll be here for 2 minutes. Okay, so we're going to come back in, have an announcement from Maureen, have a reading from Beth Gordon, and a conversation with you. So I'll pass it to you, Maureen.
Thank you. Thank you for meditation time, and happy Mother's Day to everybody. Today at 3 p.m. Central Time, we have Culture Club. We have plenty of events for you throughout the week. If you're new to our community, tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. Central, we have the Mother Moon Gathering. Beautiful meditation time. Also at 7 p.m. new event. It's going to be key conversations on abundance and prosperity consciousness. And next Saturday, we have the Mary Magdalena meditations at 1 p.m. Central. And Sunday, the 16th, we have a community visioning. We have that and so much more. Throughout the week, you can join our yoga. You can join 2 ACIM text study groups. We have 12 steps and any and all events. If you're part of our Facebook community, you can find them under events. Otherwise, you can always go to our website, speakeasyspiritualcommunity.com. These events are all free. And we appreciate your donation today. If you feel fed by any of these events, by today's conversation, just stay in the flow, because remember, giving and receiving are all in the same. We're all one, and we can bring all these events to you. So check out our calendar on our website, our homepage. There's information there as well. And you can join these events virtually. Invite your friends to join you, because a lot of times it's more fun to do things with our friends, our mothers, our daughters. So join us, and I pass it back to you.
Thanks, Maureen. Let's kick off the conversation with this poem that was the inspiration for Mother's Day. It was a poem that Mother's Day was supposed to be an invitation to peace. And along the way, it got watered down and hallmarkized into brunch and cards, but it actually was a mother's intention to bring peace, because this coalition of women at the time were just coming off the Civil War and were tired of the bloodshed. And so this is the actual inception of Mother's Day. And I'll pass it to you, Beth.
Okay, it's called Mother's Day Proclamation, and it's by Julia Ward Howe, and it's from 1872, and it goes like this. Arise then, women of this day. Arise, all women who have hearts. Whether your baptism be of water or of tears, say firmly, we will not have questions answered by irrelevant agencies. Our husbands will not come to us reeking with carnage for caresses and applause. Our sons shall not be taken from us to unlearn all that we've been able to teach them of charity, mercy, and patience. We, the women of one country, will be too tender of those of another country to allow our sons to be trained to injure theirs. From the voice of a devastated earth, a voice goes up with our own, and it says, disarm, disarm. The sword of murder is not the balance of justice. Blood does not wipe our dishonor, nor violence indicate possession. As men have often forsaken the plow and the anvil at the summons of war, let women now leave all that may be left of home for a great and earnest day of council. Let them meet first as women to bewail and commemorate the dead. Let them solemnly take counsel with each other as to the means whereby the great human family can live in peace. Each bearing after his own time the sacred impress, not of Caesar, but of God. In the name of womanhood and humanity, I earnestly ask that a General Congress of Women without limit of nationality may be appointed and held at some place deemed most convenient and the earliest period consistent with its objects. to promote the alliance of the different nationalities, the amicable settlement of international questions, the great and general interests of peace.
Yeah, how do you like them apples? Didn't hear that in school. So thanks, Beth. Thanks for sharing that. Anybody want to add their voice to the conversation, add your name to the chat, or put your hand up, or virtually put your hand up. And you can share anything about your mom, anything about your desire to honor the mom, or anything else that just wants to be shared.